And welcome to Inside the Cave on this Thursday morning. It's New Year's Eve. Ian is with me this morning. I'm Pat Hayes. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Pat. Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's Eve to you. Only about 12 hours left in 2020.
Oh, man.
I'm ready to see it go.
Ready to partay and escort this year out the back door and lock it right behind it.
Never to return.
Nope. But, there were a few good things that happened in 2020, and we're going to highlight those later on in the show. Yesterday, John and I, Roberts, did Lenawee County sports moments.
Right.
And today we're going to kind of expand it to statewide or national moments. Pat and I put together a list, and should be fun.
Should be fun. But before we get started, we got to do this.
Now for an Inside the Cave sports update.
All right, some big news. College athletes. A couple of House bills allowing athletes to receive compensation for the time for the first time in the state's history. It was
Show me the money.
Signed by Governor Whitmer. The new law will allow student athletes to use their own name, image, likeness, and reputation for financial compensation. Michigan is only the second state in the nation to pass the historic legislation, and it applies to players from any sport in all divisions. However, student athletes cannot enter into apparel contracts that conflict with the apparel contracts of their schools. While the Adrian College women's hockey team is back in action this weekend, the AC men's team will see their next game the following weekend. But Coach Anna Krug tells us it'll be a string of several games in a short amount of time.
We're actually going to start the semester with 4 games in 7 days. We're going to play January 9th against Concordia University of Wisconsin. We're going to travel there for an early afternoon game, and then we're going to come back the next day and then travel up to Plymouth on January 10th up to the U.S. under-18s. Then we'll play the same 2 opponents the following week on Tuesday and Thursday, both at home this time. So, good way for our guys to get reacclimated into competitive hockey, and hopefully we'll know real quick if they're in good shape or not.
Bulldogs record right now, 2 wins, 4 losses. The 4 losses are to Bowling Green and Lake Superior State. Adrian College men's basketball, they're set to start up again January 10th with the Lady Bulldogs in hoop action scheduled to resume play on the 9th. Nothing official yet for SHU men and the women's basketball games. In college bowl action, mark one down for the Big Ten. Wisconsin rallied to beat Wake Forest 42-28. Badgers defense came up with 4 interceptions.
Intercepted. Colin Wilder at the 40. Loose to the 50. All alone 40. 35-30. 25-20. Angles right to the 10. He has to beat the quarterback. And the quarterback pulls him down. Hartman inside the 5 and down to the 3-yard line. Colin Wilder comes up with Wisconsin's 4th interception of the game.
And those interceptions, the 4 turned into 21 points. It was really Wake Forest dominating every aspect of the game except for turnovers and obviously points. Speaking of dominating, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Wow.
They racked up 684 yards of total offense in a 55-20 pounding of Florida in the Cotton Bowl. Ramondre Stevenson led with 186 yards rushing.
The right side, big hole across the 15, cuts back inside, shakes the tackler at the 10. Are you kidding me? Ramondre Stevenson into the end zone. Touchdown Sooners.
Sounds like me.
Oh my goodness, how did Ramondre Stevenson shake free of seemingly the entire Gator defense?
Nearly 700 total yards.
Wow.
My goodness. Matthew Stafford with his sprained ankle did not practice Wednesday. And Lions interim coach Darrell Bevell said Wednesday that Chase Daniel will take first-team reps in practice the rest of the way leading up to Sunday's game. the Lions will be taking on the Vikings, but their best running back, Dalvin Cook, expected not to play either. I did see on social media that his father passed away, and that's why he will not be playing. While the Lions will play out their season finale on Sunday, the Vikings, with their first-round draft pick order at stake, the other teams in their division have a significant game. That would be the 12-3 Packers and the 8-7 Bears. Here's Green Bay quarterback. You know who he is.
Aaron Rodgers, if you forgot.
Anytime you play Chicago, there's always that little extra that's built in, I think, in the fabric of the organizations from the history of playing so many damn games against each other.
I don't have
And the feelings,
Becky or whatever it
mutual
is.
feelings that both fan bases
Okay.
have for each other, and the grinding games that we've had over the years. So I don't think you need to add any extra motivation to this game. We both have something to play for. We're playing for the 1 seed. They're playing for their playoff lives. So there's a lot at stake for both squads. We got after them a few weeks ago. They've been playing a lot better since then. We know what kind of game it's going to be.
The Packers have also picked up Damon Snacks Harrison off the waiver wire. He was released by Seattle. Harrison played for the Lions.
Of
prior
course he
to
did.
that.
Everybody has played for the Lions.
And a little bit of NBA action. What a difference a day made for the Miami Heat. But the day was highlighted by a trailblazing coach. Becky Hammon made history by becoming the first woman to serve as head coach in an NBA game. Hammon took over when Greg Popovich was ejected in the second quarter of the Spurs' 121-107 loss to the Lakers. Lakers forward, LeBron James, he spoiled the historic moment by delivering 26 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds on his 36th birthday. For Miami, Goran Dragic scored 26 points off the bench. The Heat bounced back from the 47-point loss to Milwaukee. They beat the Bucks 119-108. That's it for our sports update for this hour. We will do it one more time at 8 o'clock.
All right, thank you very much, Ian. We've got a lot to talk about here this morning. Coming up next will be the college football playoffs. And if you'd like to talk with us about anything sports, give us a call here on the studio line. It's 517-265-4000. You can send us an email, sports@965thecave.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And today we're back on the YouTube stream.
Yeah.
Runaway Broadcasting Company.
Hello, everybody.
You can find us right there on YouTube. I will share the link on Facebook and Twitter as well. So you can find us that way too. I think the big question, Pat, for these, I know we'll try to break down the games a little bit, but for me, last week when we talked about this, or I talked about it, does anyone give Notre Dame a chance? I mean, a fighting chance? I mean, this might be the best Alabama has ever been. And watching the way Notre Dame played against Clemson with all of their players back, I mean, do you give them any shot?
Well, the word chance, I mean, that's kind of nebulous here. Of course they have a chance. Do they have a real chance? Not on my radar. I think they're going to get beat pretty good, I think, by Alabama.
I mean, I know shows like ours and others do like cheesy little bets and like, oh, if such and who wins, I'll wear a hat or do a goofy thing. I think I might start doing that with this. I mean, if Notre Dame beats Alabama, I mean, wins the game, and whatever the spread is, I think it opened at like 20 points, something like that. I'm not sure what it moved to now. If Ian Book, my namesake, and the rest of the Irish beat Alabama, I'll buy and wear a Notre Dame t-shirt on the show next Wednesday.
J.K. will like that.
Yeah, he might have to come in on this day off
He
from the
might.
cave.
Yeah, just to see it.
I mean, there is just no way. No way.
Well, you know, Alabama and Clemson are the elite teams in college football. And I don't think anybody's going to beat them. They're going to face off in the championship game, and it's going to be close. But, you know, they're head and shoulders above, I think, every other team in college football.
Yeah, and does a team like Ohio State stand a chance against Clemson?
Not a bit. And they're in the same boat as Notre Dame, although I think the Clemson-Ohio State game is going to be a little bit closer. But, you know, you've got Heisman Trophy candidates falling flat on their face like last night. Kyle Trask. I mean, 3 interceptions in the first half. That was not good for Florida.
No, that was certainly unique. And, you know, I went through the schedule when I made my argument for Notre Dame not competing even in this game. I mean, we have past playoff record of Notre Dame making it, sucking when they get there. Then it's like, well, they just played a great Alabama team or a great Clemson team. Okay. Maybe they shouldn't get the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? They lost a game to a playoff team. We'll put them in. Like, I think the story is better. I think more people would tune in if a team like Texas A&M or a team like Cincinnati get in. And, you know, that's better storylines. I would be more inclined to watch it. I know what I'm going to get with Notre Dame. They struggled with Virginia, Pat. Like, Virginia, and they were losing to Boston College.
Right, exactly.
What are you doing? Why are you messing around with those teams? I mean, Alabama's putting up 70 on Florida. That's an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, they're blowing out SEC schools, and Notre Dame's just hanging with Virginia, hanging with Boston College, losing the biggest game in the ACC championship game. I'm not sold. If someone out there is sold and they want to call, that's fine. And I'm sure there are Notre Dame fans out there, 265-4000. But like I said, I will find, buy, and wear a Notre Dame t-shirt
Oh, boy.
if they beat Mac Jones and Alabama.
You know, for me, it's not that I don't want Notre Dame to win. I would love to see them play a very competitive game against Alabama.
Yes.
You know, Alabama is the team I love to see lose, but they don't.
Right.
They don't. And so, you know, I would love to see Notre Dame stay with them, but, you know, Saban has got so many weapons, so many 5-stars sitting on the bench waiting for their turn. I mean, it's just a different, it's a difference of quality players.
It is. It is. And, you know, that's where I start the discussion is like, I mean, will Clemson, Ohio State even be competitive? Like, can't we just fast forward and just say, all right, Alabama, Clemson, you're clearly leaps and bounds above these other two. You can just go ahead and play each other.
The only unknown here is the players that will not be on the field because of COVID. Yeah, you just don't know. But as far as a competitive team playing a competitive team, you know, Clemson again is head and shoulders above Ohio State, and you know that's the fact. And if there's Ohio State fans out there that disagree with me, please give us a call here, 517-265-4000.
I think all Ohio State fans disagree with everything you say, Pat.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah.
But, you know, do I hope it's a competitive game? Absolutely. But it's not going to be.
If there was a if I had to pick between the two, and they're both on at the same time, I'm watching Clemson, Ohio State. I mean, the Buckeyes have played 6 games. We don't really know who they are yet. You know, they played essentially half a season. They didn't look awesome against Indiana, and they didn't look awesome against Northwestern. But they won, you know. I'd much rather watch that than, you know, the only reason Notre Dame is here, let's be honest about this, is they beat Clemson in season when Clemson had like 10 starters out. I'm slightly exaggerating. I think it was 7.
Well, their best player was out.
Yes, Trevor Lawrence was out and like 6 defensive starters, and Notre Dame took him to 7 overtime or 3 overtimes.
7 overtimes.
Yeah, it
You
felt
can't
like
do
it.
that. Can't do that
No,
anymore.
and they barely eked out a win. If Clemson beats them there, we're not talking about Notre Dame.
Yeah, with 2 losses, probably Texas A&M would maybe in that position.
Right, then we're having the A&M Cincinnati discussion. Why wouldn't undefeated Cincinnati get in? It's obvious.
Well, the strength of the schedule is there's no comparison.
No, strength of schedule and maybe the Power 5 bias that a non-Power 5 team will never make it. Right? I mean, are we at that point where it's just not going to happen?
It's just not going to happen.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Surprise. I don't know. I mean, I'll watch them both, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I
I'm gonna
mean,
watch. They're not on the same time.
right. That's what this college season has worked towards.
Yeah,
I mean, to even get to this point is awesome.
We've got the 4 best teams on the field.
We do, and we honestly knew that in August, right?
Yeah, we could have. Yeah, we could have picked it. We should do that next August. We should pick our Final 4.
Well, how about as soon as this game is over?
Okay.
We know, okay, Alabama's got
gonna
a
be
great
back.
recruiting class, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Yeah. Notre Dame, maybe not.
I mean, if they get blown out again, they have to stop getting the benefit of the doubt here. But then, you know, we're talking like, oh, the second place SEC team is going to get in. And then we got that whole thing, and we're talking about Florida, who was supposed to be like the might sneak in team, and then you lose to LSU, and then get your doors pushed in by Oklahoma last night. Wild stuff. I mean,
It's
I'm
wild
looking
stuff, yeah.
forward to this. It
Yep.
should be.
I'm
Should
looking
be
forward
interesting.
to Clemson playing Alabama, and you know that should be a competitive game.
Oh,
Should
that'll be
be.
awesome.
It's going to be an awesome game.
It's becoming.
With Trevor Lawrence back, and I think they're going to do it again. Here, they've done it a couple of times, haven't they?
Yeah, it's becoming. Remember in the NBA when it was, all right, LeBron and the Cavs are gonna play the Warriors, and Steph, Clay, Draymond. Like it's getting to that point. Like, okay, these are clearly the 2 best. They're gonna play each other in the finals. It's becoming a broken record situation. The only chance for an upset for me is Justin Fields and Ohio State somehow beating Clemson, but I mean that could get ugly too.
It could. Hey, we got to take a break here. It's 20 minutes after the hour. You're inside the cave. Also, don't forget, in our second hour, we've got John Borton, the senior editor of the Wolverine magazine. He'll be with us talking about Michigan football and basketball, and maybe even some women's basketball and hockey. Don't go away. You're inside the cave.
Real big hits, really big plays. We're talking about it. 96.5, The Cave.
And you're back inside the cave. Ian Wett, yours truly, Pat Hayes, with you on this New Year's Eve.
Woo!
Happy New Year. Glad to see 2020 go.
Na 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 na.
You got it.
Na na na.
Hey, we got to
na.
give a shout out. Today is one of our colleagues' birthday. You remember?
I do.
Yeah.
Jeff Bowman.
Jeff Bowman.
Happy birthday. It's not every day you turn 28, right?
Yeah, we got to find out what his first name is in Dutch.
Well, that was your responsibility.
That
That might be, that's like one of the most,
Nickja is mine.
is it really?
Nickja.
It's
Nick
one of the-
Jays.
I mean, that might be the most funny off-air moment we've had inside the cave.
Yeah, that was.
It was
Wow.
like, it was practicing for the show,
Yeah, we were
right? We were
practicing,
just
yeah.
talking and
Yeah.
you,
Well, that one, and I hate
I
to
mean,
bring
can
this
we
up,
say it?
12-man football.
yeah, that was in the same, like the same sentence, wasn't
Yes,
it?
I think so.
My goodness, yeah, that was not,
Oh, boy. Well,
that was not in the top 10.
That was not. No,
No.
that was the 10 losers.
It was the best of the worst or something like
Yeah.
that.
Hey, let's take a look at some of the playoff games. We got 3 of them coming up today. A noon start. It's going to be Mississippi State taking on Tulsa in the Armed Forces Bowl. And let's see here, that game.
Do you want us to pick these bowl games real quick?
Yeah, why don't we just pick them? It's going to be played at Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. And the point spread is 1.5 for Tulsa. Tulsa, of course, ranked number 24 in the top 25.
Yeah, I'll take Tulsa, why not?
I'm going to take Mississippi State for some reason.
Contrarian.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Let's do it. All right, we've got Ball State taking on San Jose State. That is in the Arizona Bowl. That'll be played in Tucson, Arizona today. And the point spread is 9 for San Jose State. I hate to go against, a MAC team, but I'm going to go with San Jose State.
Yeah, I was anticipating that spread when you announced what game it was. I think Ball State gave it all against Buffalo in the MAC championship. I could see a letdown, and I'll take San Jose State too.
All right. And the third game, that was a 2 o'clock kick for the Ball State San Jose State game. At 4 o'clock, we've got the Liberty Bowl. That pits West Virginia versus Army. And that game is being played, of course, at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee.
I will not pick against the armed forces, so
You're not?
no,
Okay.
not in this case. That's
Okay. I'm going to take West Virginia. They're 7-point favorites.
okay.
Okay. All right, coming up on New Year's Day, the big day. Drum roll, yeah, here we go. In the first game, in a noon kickoff, it's going to be Cincinnati versus Georgia.
Oh my gosh, what a game!
That's the Peach Bowl. And of course, that's going to be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. I was there last year at this time.
Wow, must have been nice
It was.
Living that
Oh,
retired
two
life,
years
huh?
ago. I'm sorry. It was-
when Michigan went down there.
Yeah, I played Florida.
Gosh, doesn't your heart want to pick Cincinnati?
It does,
But then your head is kind of like,
they're such
It's
whiners.
Georgia.
They're such whiners, though.
they're such whiners.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's sort of justified, but
Yeah.
I'll take Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
they're-
Georgia big on this one.
I mean, if they fall asleep, then maybe, but I don't think they will.
All right. The 1 o'clock kick, it'll be the Citrus Bowl. And of course, that's in Orlando at Camping World Stadium. Real nice stadium. It's in that press box last year with Alabama and Michigan.
My goodness, look at you,
Yeah.
big time, Pat Hayes, huh?
Yeah, right.
Dropping names, locations. Wow,
Auburn taking on Northwestern.
Northwestern.
Yep, you can't go against the Big Ten in this one.
Yeah,
I don't think Auburn has the horses. Northwestern picked by 3.5.
yeah. Auburn kind of a fraud-ish
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah. Let's get down to the meat and potatoes. We've got
Alabama.
Alabama and Notre
Alabama
Dame.
by 30.
1 versus 4. It's 19.5-point favorite is the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, Bama.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And that's the Rose Bowl, moving from Pasadena down to Jerry World. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. It's sad, but
AT&T Stadium, yeah, it is sad. I wonder if they probably aren't going to hold the Tournament of Roses parade this year. I would.
I mean, if they move the game to Texas,
Yeah.
they might do a parade there. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, they're not. Yeah, they canceled that probably 6 months ago.
Yeah. All right, the nightcap tomorrow. It'll be Ohio State versus Clemson in the Sugar Bowl. Of course, that's at Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. And I think we've pretty much talked about this. The only thing that surprises me here is that Clemson is only a 7.5-point favorite.
Yeah, and I think that could partially be because of the unknown for Ohio State. They played 6 games, and some of them they looked great, others they looked pedestrian. And I mean, you're looking at maybe the 1 and 2 picks in the draft. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going 1. The question is, whatever team, the Jets want to go quarterback at 2. But I mean, that of the 2, that's the more entertaining, and yeah, we're going Clemson in that.
Okay. Coming up on Saturday, January 2nd, we have Kentucky taking on North Carolina State. That's a noon kick. That's the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville.
Kentucky has a hard time with Gators, so I will pick against Kentucky in this one.
All right, you got Kentucky.
No, against Kentucky.
Oh, you're against
Right, because they don't normally do well against Gators.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my bowl logic.
I like that logic.
Yeah.
Bowl logic. All right, I'm going to take Kentucky. They're favored by 2.
Ooh, falling into the trap.
Yep,
right
I
into
am.
the Gator's mouth.
All right, let's go now to the Outback Bowl. Of course, that's in Tampa.
Have you been to that one, Pat?
No, I haven't been to Raymond James.
Well, we got to get Michigan in that game so you
Well,
can go down and watch.
they've been in plenty of games over there in the Outback. Let's see, Ole Miss taking on the Hoosiers.
Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely, 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
That's a 12:30 kick. The next game is the Fiesta Bowl. Oregon taking on Iowa State.
Ooh,
That's going to be a good one.
I think so too.
I like Iowa State.
Man. Is Iowa State favored?
Yes, they are by
By
4.
like, 4? That's...
Mhm.
Oh, man. No one gave Oregon a chance against USC. I'll give them a chance here to win this one.
All right. And the final game of the day on January 2nd, it's the Orange Bowl. Of course, that's at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida. It pits North Carolina versus Texas A&M. That's going to be another good one.
I don't think so. I think A&M's just... I mean, they're mad. I mean, they're like Indiana mad. Yeah, I got Texas A&M to cover or to win, whatever. If they're favored or not, it doesn't matter.
I think Mac Brown has done a tremendous job at North Carolina, and I think they're going to win this one.
Ooh, differing opinion.
Differing, contrarian today.
Yes.
Okay, and that rounds out the bowl schedule.
And what a way to start a new year with bowl games. And it's a positive thing to start 2021. And yeah, looking forward to those.
And of course, we'll have the national championship game coming up later on. I'm not sure what the date of that
Good
is.
stuff. Yeah, I think it's flexible.
Yeah.
They normally give a couple, 3 weeks between
Mm-hmm.
to give us enough time to talk about it. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. But let's look at the bowl games for starting today through the weekend.
Through the
Thanks,
weekend. Yep. And of course, don't forget, we're going to have our lock of the week coming up.
Pat. College football themed
Yes.
lock of the week.
Lock of the week.
I think everyone knows who it is already.
Oh, well, they should.
Yeah, if they've listened to any part of the show today, they have a pretty good idea of
Very good idea.
who's going to win.
We'll keep you in suspense here for a while. So, you're inside the cave this morning. Pat Hayes along with Ian Wendt. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the bowl games, and it's very easy to do. Just give us a call here on the studio line, 517-265-4000. That's the number to call. And we're going to take a break here, but we're going to be coming back and taking a look at our top 10 biggest sports stories of 2020. You're inside the cave this morning. Don't go away.
High school sports. Nobody covers it better in Lenawee than 96.5 The Cave. To 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
And welcome back to the New Year's Eve edition of Inside the Cave. Pat Hayes along with Ian Wendt this morning. And anything special tonight, Ian, for New Year's Eve?
It's always special on New Year's Eve, but I normally don't do like a big party. It's normally a small, immediate family thing. Might do that this year, might change it up. Just 2020 has been different, and it's turning out to be that way till the very last day. So Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I will be turning around and waving goodbye to the year that was. How about you?
My usual is I'm in bed by 10 o'clock, and so that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Have a nice dinner usually.
Right, because you volunteered to be on the show tomorrow
Yes.
at 7 a.m. and most of us
7
are thinking,
And the reason
Someone's going
I'm
to
here
bed
at
early.
7 a.m. tomorrow is because someone else didn't feel that he would be in shape for the show tomorrow. So
No, well, yeah. Once you celebrate enough birthdays, I think you start getting achy, and it's harder to bounce back after celebrating New Year's Eve and your birthday, Jeff Bowman.
there you go.
The same night.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah, enjoy it. Pat's working overtime for you.
Overtime, yeah. All right, we've got another segment coming up, and we're going to pick our top 10 best or biggest, I guess, sports stories of 2020. And there's been a lot of stories out there this year. And why don't you lead us off, Ian, and tell us what your number 10 is?
All right, so my philosophy with this, Pat, is I stuck with state stories.
Okay.
There were so many national things. I'm like, okay, you got Tom Brady going to the Bucks. I mean, that's huge. You got the Lakers winning the championship.
Don't tell them all mine.
Oh, all of you. Oh, geez, sorry. So I tried to stick with the mitten.
Okay.
My number 10, it's really local, but it's got a state and a national angle to this. Adrian College men's basketball winning the MIAA tournament and playing in the school's first ever NCAA tournament game. I was at the Marilat when the announcement was made of who they're playing and where they're going to play, and it was just so cool to watch the program get to that point. For Coach Lindsay and the players, it was just awesome. And then Pat, you and Fred, with the chance to go down and call that game, was one of the best stories in the state and in the country, really.
Yeah.
For D3 hoops, it was great.
I would agree. And we had a great time down there. And, the Bulldogs played well the first 3 quarters, but a better team. And, they got hung out. But, hey, they played well. They had a great season. Who would have thunk that Adrian College would have won the MIAA postseason tournament?
Right.
Nobody.
No.
Nobody.
I mean, they snuck in. They were, like the 5th seed or 6th seed or something? And
Yep, exactly.
my goodness.
So, all right. Well, I guess one of the biggest stories, of 2020 is the fact that COVID-19 shut down just about every sport known to man. And, that's pretty much my biggest story. High school sports, college sports, professional sports. COVID did the job, and we were locked down.
I mean, it hit
And I
the
hope
sports world.
I hope it never happens again.
Yes, it hit the Friday of district championship games for basketball. And we just had to close up shop, and hoops were done, and we had a sports talk radio show that we just launched like a month or 2 prior, and we're going,
Eek.
yeah.
What are we going to talk about?
like-
But we figured it out.
Yeah, like, do we move down to an hour? Do we do all these things? And we made it through, but certainly the moment of the world, basically, is COVID-19.
Yeah.
I ranked mine number 9, statewide. Ypsilanti Lincoln basketball star Imani Bates chooses Michigan State
Yeah.
verbally. Didn't sign the document yet, but that was a huge get so far for Tom Izzo, and based on the way they're playing, they need him.
They absolutely do need him, and congratulations to him. And of course, he went out and created his own school so he could play basketball.
Yep, with some of the best, and so that was a big moment. Surprise to me, because State normally doesn't get huge, big-time commits and recruits, and that was certainly a top moment for 2020.
One of the big stories on the national scene for me, I didn't rank mine in any particular order, but the athletes from the NBA, the WNBA, the National Hockey League, Major League Baseball, when they walked off the job for solidarity for social justice, that really had a lot of people talking. Of course, a lot of people joined in and supported them, and which they probably should have. And so, it wasn't a true sports story, but it was a sports story. It shut down sports for, a couple of days.
Yes, certainly on the list of things we won't forget from 2020.
Absolutely.
It's exactly what you said, Pat. Very well said. Number 8 on my list, Adrian College plays 3 football games this season with Trine, Manchester, and Bluffton. It's a national story because those were the only Division III football teams playing this fall. Everyone else did not play. So college put together protocols to play. They executed them, and they got a game in with Trine, Manchester, and Bluffton.
It was great to see him play,
It was.
or listen to him play. We couldn't go see him.
Right, yeah. And I had the fortunate opportunity to call a couple of those. Go to Manchester for their first game in their new stadium up on top of the press box. And call the Bluffton game off of a monitor from Docking Stadium. So a crazy 2020, but a big moment on the national scene for AC football.
All right, my next one is going to be the Houston Astros being punished for cheating, sign stealing, and they got their punishment in 2020. A.J. Hinch, the main culprit, I guess, the new man for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, justice finally served for some, and some it wasn't enough, but
Right.
you can debate that for a while.
That's going to be talked about for years to come.
Yeah, especially with Hinch here in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cameras on him, you know the first thing they're going to say. Number 7 for me, the Detroit Red Wings were historically bad. This team stunk so bad they couldn't make it into the expanded playoffs for the NHL bubble. Not getting the top draft pick, but still continuing the rebuild with Stevie Y. Yeah, surprised they get like the worst record and not the best pick too. I mean, come on. But Red Wings stunk. Big moment in sports was just them trying to rebuild this thing.
Absolutely. All right, my next one is LSU winning the national championship in 2020. And they did it in style, and they were definitely the best team in college football.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow continuing that with Cincinnati prior to the injury. You know, you could take that moment and stretch it into the draft of Burrow's road to the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Huge story.
Mm-hmm.
But we're the LSU Tigers, and just how historically great they were this past season. Number 6 on my list, we're going to basketball. Tom Izzo beating Coach K at Duke for the first time.
Good one.
No
Good
fans there.
Yeah.
But it's still Duke. I mean, they're still wearing those uniforms, right? And
Do you think it would have been different if the Crazies were there?
yeah. I mean, you got to give the fans the home stadium plus or minus a certain number, but Izzo finally got it done, and ever since then, the team has slid down. But a moment there for Michigan State and Tom Izzo.
All right, my next one is the LA Dodgers winning their first World Series since 1988 in a COVID year. In a shortened season, everybody picked them from start to finish to win it all.
Right, they did it again.
Again.
You know, it's not the first time the Dodgers have been like a preseason favorite, regular season favorite, postseason favorite, and then they lose. But they didn't. Got the job done.
Got the job done.
And a weird year continued in baseball. And what a season that was to get those games in. We thought, some of us thought, there's no way. They're not bubbling up. I mean, they're out and about or doing whatever. And give them credit, there were only a couple issues with COVID in the major leagues.
Yeah. They did it right.
Number 5 for me, a revamped, new look Detroit Pistons. They made about 600 moves with their new general manager and basically a whole new team for Detroit. It gives Detroit Piston fans optimism and sort of a reason to watch with their new draft picks and the new faces for Dwayne Casey in Detroit.
Well, I'm going to stay in Los Angeles, and the Lakers win their 17th NBA title. And again, they were picked to win it from start to finish, and they did. So LA was a hotbed for sports this year.
It really was LeBron doing LeBron things
Yep.
for the LA Lakers.
Yep.
Number 4, optimism for the Tigers. Casey Mize and company. And, they showed some promise. And sticking with the Tigers, sad news for Brad Gardenhire. Abruptly retiring due to health issues for him. I'm sure he was looking forward to the development of those players.
Yep.
And didn't get the chance to, but a big story of him retiring the last week of the season, and hope he's doing well.
Yeah. Great guy. They hated to see him leave.
Yes.
I mean, but hey, health is health. All right, my next one is Tom Brady going to the Bucks, and what a job he has done so far, making the playoffs. And here comes Tom.
Certainly a top moment this year. Number 3, you're not going to like this one, Pat. Michigan State football beating U of M for Mel Tucker's first win.
No.
And then that same coach would beat undefeated Northwestern. So a couple big wins for Mel Tucker. You don't have to further talk about that. We'll go to the next one.
Next one for me. All right. Patrick Mahomes, the star of Super Bowl 54. The Chiefs win it and may win it again this year.
Yeah, wins the game and then signs a huge contract.
$500 million?
Yeah, we must have had our contracts mixed up.
Yeah.
I didn't sign the right one.
Don't I wish.
But yeah, gosh, what a football game that was against San Francisco. Number 2 for me, Martha Ford steps down as principal owner of the Detroit Lions. Sheila Ford Hamp takes over. Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn canned after an embarrassing loss on Thanksgiving Day to Houston. That's my number 2 moment.
All right. Mine is Sarah Fuller from Vanderbilt, first woman to play in a Power 5 football game and the first woman to score in a Power 5 football school.
That's right. One of the top moments nationwide for 2020. Number 1 for me, Mark D'Antonio abruptly retires. Mel Tucker hired as Michigan State football coach. The great Mark D'Antonio out, Mel Tucker in. That's my top moment in the state for 2020.
My number 1 is the death of Kobe Bryant. That's the first thing I thought of when putting these down on paper. It's number 1. Hey, we'll be back for our second hour. Don't go away. You're Inside the Cave with Ian Wett, Pat Hayes.
start your day.
Good morning.
Now grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass, because it's time to go inside the cave.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of Inside the Cave. Excuse me. Where'd that frog come from?
I don't know. Wasn't there during the break.
It wasn't. Anyway, Happy New Year, and Ian Went, Pat Hayes with you this morning, enjoying this last day of 2020. Kind of glad to get rid of it.
Yeah, we've dreamed of this moment for probably 10 months, 9 months this year.
Ever since we had the lockdown.
Yeah, circle that on the calendar.
Yep.
Hoping COVID's getting over and we can start getting back to things here in the state and the nation. But yeah, Happy New Year's Eve day to everyone out there listening. Got a good final hour.
Yeah, we do. We've got our sports update coming up here in just a minute. We're going to have our NFL picks, and then we'll have John Borton, senior editor of the Wolverine magazine, on with us at about 8:25 this morning. So let's get it going.
Now for an Inside the Cave sports update.
2 House bills in Michigan, not the Buffalo Bills. They're allowing college athletes to receive compensation for the first time in Michigan history. Governor Whitmer signed those bills recently. The new law will allow student athletes to use their own name, image, likeness, and reputation. That's an interesting tidbit.
Reputation.
Yeah, for financial compensation. Michigan is only the second state in the nation to pass the historic legislation, and it applies to players from all sports in all divisions. However,
Division 3, huh?
yeah, all of them.
That's great.
Where the funding is going to come from, it's probably buried somewhere in the bill. Student athletes cannot enter into apparel contracts that conflict with the apparel contracts of their schools. So sorry, Pat, no shoe deal for you.
Oh, I was kind of counting on it.
While the Adrian College women's hockey team, they're back in action this weekend. The men's team will be back the following weekend. Coach Adam Krug tells us it'll be a string of several games in a short amount of time.
Yeah, we're actually going to start the semester with 4 games in 7 days. We're going to play January 9th against Concordia University, Wisconsin. We're there for an early afternoon game, and then we're going to come back the next day and then travel up to Plymouth on January 10th up to the U.S. under-18s. Then we'll play the same 2 opponents the following week on Tuesday and Thursday, both at home this time. So, good way for our guys to get reacclimated into the competitive hockey, and hopefully we'll know real quick if they're in good shape or not.
That's right. The Bulldogs, they're 2-4. The 4 losses to Bowling Green State University and Lake Superior State University, both Division I programs. Adrian College men's basketball, they're set to start up again January 10th. The Lady Bulldogs in hoop action scheduled to resume their play on the 9th. Nothing official yet from Siena Heights men and women's basketball teams. In college bowl action, mark one down for the Big Ten. Wisconsin rallied to beat Wake Forest 42-28, and then they dropped the trophy. Badgers quarterback
Shattered it.
Shattered it. Badgers defense, though, that came up with 4 interceptions.
Intercepted. Colin Wilder at the 40. Loose to the 50. All alone 40. 35-30. 25-20. He has to beat the quarterback. And the quarterback.
You know, speak any louder?
Inside the 5 and down to the 3-yard line. Colin Wilder comes up with Wisconsin's 4th interception of the game.
4 picks turned into 21 points for Wisconsin, and then they spiked the trophy in the locker room. Congrats to the Big Ten for that win. He dropped it. He didn't spike it. Oklahoma Sooners racked up almost 700 yards.
Wow.
In a 55-20 pounding of Florida. Gators got chopped in the Cotton Bowl. Ramondre Stevenson, he had 186 yards rushing.
Off the right side, big hole across the 15, cuts back inside, shakes the tackle at the 10. Are you kidding me, Ramondre Stevenson?
Are you kidding me?
Touchdown Sooners! Oh my goodness, how did Ramondre Stevenson shake free of Gator defense.
When you try to get away from a gator, I think you zigzag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Can you
what
get
it
more
is.
excited than that?
No, I don't think so. Matthew Stafford, a sprained ankle, didn't practice yesterday. Interim coach Darrell Bevel, Wednesday, he said Chase Daniel will take the first team reps in practice the rest of the way, leading up to Sunday's game. The Vikings' best running back, Dalvin Cook, he's not expected to play either as he mourns the loss of his father. While the Lions will be playing out their season on Sunday against the Vikings, their first round of draft order at stake. The other teams in the division have a game to play for, the Packers and the Bears. Here's Green Bay's quarterback.
Anytime you play Chicago, there's always that little extra that's built in, I think, in the fabric of the organizations from the history of playing so many damn games against each other, and the feelings, the mutual feelings that both fan bases have for each other, and the grinding games that we've had over the years. So I don't think you need to add any extra motivation to this game. We both have something to play for. We're playing for the 1 seed, they're playing for their playoff lives. So there's a lot at stake for both squads. We got after them a few weeks ago. They've been playing a lot better since then. We know what kind of game it's going to be.
We're playing for the 1 seed. They're playing for their playoff lives. I take that as a little jab at the Bears from Aaron Rodgers. The Packers, they've picked up Damon Snacks Harrison off the waiver wire, released by Seattle. He played for the Lions prior to that. Let's see. What a difference the day made for the Heat. The day was highlighted by a trailblazing coach. Becky Hammond made history by becoming the first woman to serve as head coach in an NBA game. LeBron's birthday, the birthday boy, he spoiled the moment. He delivered 26 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds on his 36th birthday. That'll do it for the sports update for today. We do those weekdays, 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. inside the cave.
All right, you're all up to date here, and if you'd like to talk sports with us, give us a call here on the studio line. We have a little bit of time here in our first segment. 517-265-4000. That's the number to call, or just call us up and wish us a Happy New Year, something like that.
Or Jeff, a happy birthday.
That's right, a happy birthday to Jeff Bowman today. And you can send us an email, sports@965thecave.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yep, speaking of Facebook, Twitter, I posted the link to the YouTube stream today. We're back on that on Lenawee Broadcasting Company, so you can be inside the cave, literally, with us today.
All right, we have a couple of things to take care of. We're going to do our picks, professional picks today, and also our lock of the week coming up here in just a minute.
Yep, divisional matchups throughout the NFL today. We'll start things off with the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers. They will battle the Falcons. Tampa Bay pretty much locked into the playoffs. Seeding is the issue. They're taking on an Atlanta team that had their chances to beat Kansas City on the road last week. Do you give Atlanta a chance?
Well, Atlanta's going to lead this ball game for 3.5 quarters, and the Buccaneers will come back and take this. They're 6.5-point favorites. The Buccaneers to get a better seed.
Yeah, it was the same Atlanta team that was up on Tom Brady again. 17 points earlier this season, like 2 weeks ago. I will take Atlanta to win this game. Miami, Buffalo. Miami.
Wow, this is going to be
That's
a tough
fight
one.
for their playoff lives. Buffalo, do they play their starters? Do they sit their starters? Buffalo in the 2 seed, but if they lose and Pittsburgh wins, they'll be the 3 seed. Who you got, Pat?
Wow, this is a tough one, Ian. Miami 10-5, the Bills 12-3. I think Josh Allen might have it over Tua, so I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, I would too. And this is a game where maybe tomorrow we get news that Josh Allen isn't going to play or certain guys are going to sit out. But as the teams are right now, Buffalo's the better team, and
They're playing good football.
I mean they're the best team in
They
football.
are.
In my power rankings yesterday, Another divisional matchup. Cleveland, they win, they're in. Unfortunately, they're playing the Steelers, but Mason Rudolph at quarterback for the black and gold.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns on this game. They're 10-3. Pittsburgh 12-3, but of course we know they lost 2 in a row there, but finally got a victory this last week. But I'm going to go with the Browns with a Ben Roethlisberger-less Steelers.
Wouldn't it be the most Browns thing to lose this game and miss the playoffs?
Yeah, boy, their fans, the dog pound, would never forgive them.
I mean, it would erase all the success from this year, the winning season, Kevin Stefanski doing his thing, Mayfield playing pretty well. Cleveland should win this game, and I'll pick them to win. But wouldn't that be a Browns move to lose to Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers?
All right.
Dallas, New York. This game matters, Pat, because if the football team loses, one of these two will win the NFC East.
Who's got the tiebreaker here? I don't know. I mean, every time I pick Dallas to win, they lose. And they're favored in the game, by the way. 2.5 points. I'm going to go with Dallas.
Me too.
Even though they're on the road.
Yeah, they cracked my top 16 list again yesterday. They've won 3 straight. Andy Dalton figuring this thing out. I think Dallas wins this football game over New York. A surprise New York team, a team we thought might go like 1-15.
Yeah.
At the earlier part of the season. Going down the list here, Tennessee, Houston. Tennessee in the driver's seat in the AFC South. Houston has been eliminated, but can they play spoiler?
Boy, they have done it before. Titans, as you said, 10-5 on the season. They had that tough loss at Green Bay this last week in the snowstorm. I'm going to pick Tennessee to come back and win this one, and probably won't be much of a game. Tannehill and Deshaun Watson should be a good matchup.
Yeah, I like Tennessee here too. Bounce back, a team that's can't really figure them out in Tennessee, but I think they'll get it together. Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams. Both these teams in wild card spots, Pat.
Jeez.
Arizona, you can't figure them out. The Rams are without Jared Goff. What team's going to show up?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb again, and I'm going to pick the Arizona Cardinals. They've done me wrong this year, but the law of averages got to catch up with me.
They do. Los Angeles loses to New York, the Jets, giving the Jets their first win. I said here on these airwaves, they'll bounce back, and they'll whoop Seattle. They did not. They looked anemic on offense. It was bad. It was really bad, and I think that continues. Jared Goff is out as he got his thumb fixed up. I think Kyler Murray in Arizona will win this game. Green Bay, Chicago. Chicago wins, and they're in. Green Bay wins. They eliminate their division rival. What's going to happen at Soldier Field?
Black and blue division again, and the Packers and Aaron Rodgers are looking so good. They're not gonna lose until the Super Bowl, I don't think. So I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers to defeat the Chicago Bears.
Yep, what a weird team, Chicago. One of the best in football.
Just
6
wonder
weeks
who's
in.
going to show up.
Yeah, Trubisky's been playing solid ball. This will be more competitive than last time, I think. But Green Bay will win this game. Another disappointing season for the Bears. 2 more games. Washington football team. If they beat Philadelphia, they win the NFC East. Who is quarterback for the football team? Alex Smith dealing with an injury. Dwayne Haskins probably at the club somewhere, based on photos that surfaced, released by the team. I mean, can Washington do it?
I think they can. If they have Josh Smith at quarterback.
Alex.
Or Alex, I'm sorry, John. What am I, Josh?
Josh Smith. Huh.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Alex Smith. The football team, they're 1.5 point favorites. I'm going to go with the percentages.
Gosh, I thought the football team would win last week at Carolina and wrap up the division. Dwayne Haskins stunk. The offense stunk. They cut him. Is Jalen Hurts better than whatever Washington's going to throw out there? Probably. But I think whoever Washington puts out there will be better with the football than Haskins, and the football team's defense will shine against Philadelphia.
Okay.
All right, you guessed the last game we're going to pick, Pat. It's Minnesota and Detroit.
Minnesota.
Minnesota without their star running back Dalvin Cook, who had himself a nice afternoon
Doesn't make
against
any
the
difference.
Lions.
Doesn't make any difference. The Vikings win over the Lions, and the Lions hopefully will get a good first-round pick.
Yeah, you need. It's the dilemma of Week 17.
Have we seen the last of Matthew Stafford?
Well, it's a whole nother show, and we don't have time to talk about that.
Yes or no?
Don't just throw out that
Yes
question.
or no?
Have we seen the last of Matt Stafford in Detroit or
Yes.
on a football field?
In Detroit.
What I think will happen and what will happen are probably different. I think a change of scenery would be good for him, which is who I'm looking out for. We want Matthew Stafford to succeed, and the Lions have proven they can't build a team around him. So it would be doing him a favor of, you know, Matt, you want to play this game, we'll play you.
I'm glad I asked a yes or no answer.
You can't just answer that with a quarterback that's been here for so long. But Minnesota wins this game.
Yeah,
Lions defense is just so bad.
absolutely. All right, hey, it's time for the lock of the weekend. This week's lock of the weekend being brought to you by Adrian Locksmith. Let's be honest, you couldn't pick your nose if it wasn't attached to your face, so I can't imagine you're any good at picking football games. So we are going to help you out with the help of Adrian Locksmith. They have been serving Lenawee County and surrounding areas for over 20 years. Adrian Locksmith is located at the corner of North Main and Maple Avenue right here in good old Adrian, Michigan.
Hi, this is Nick. Do you want to check or change the security on your home or business? If it involves locks, keys,
I think everybody knows who our lock of the weekend is going to be, Ian, but make it official.
Yeah, if you tuned in the first hour of the show, I was pretty much an Alabama cheerleader, as they will absolutely beat the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the semifinal in the Rose Bowl in Jerry World on New Year's Day. So Bama, Roll Tide, they're the lock of the weekend.
I concur on that 100%. Our lock of the weekend has been brought to you by Adrian Locksmith. Security is their business. Adrian Locksmith is at 402 North Main Street in Adrian. Give them a call at 517-263-1415 or check them out on Facebook. And coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to have John Borton, the senior editor of the Wolverine magazine, on with us. So stay tuned for that. You're inside the cave this morning with Ian Wett. Yours truly, Pat Hayes.
The biggest sports story.
And welcome back inside the cave this morning. Pat Hayes along with Ian Wendt. A little bit of Michigan fight song in the background here. And of course, every Thursday at this time, we talk with our Michigan insider, John Borton, the senior editor of the Wolverine magazine. Good morning, John, and Happy New Year.
Good morning, Pat. Happy New Year to you. Good to see you.
Well, we've had a little bit of action over in Ann Arbor this week. Of course, Don Brown was let go, and we've had a lot of rumors of who that next defensive coordinator is going to be. Any people that you know of?
Well, I think some of the names that were out there before are still out there. A lot of people are thinking about the possibility of Will Muschamp coming to Michigan. There's been the talk early on. Some thought it was just people throwing things out there. But you never say never on some of those things. And we certainly continue to hear about Derek Mason, the former Harbaugh assistant at Stanford, who then was the head coach at Vanderbilt. Clint Banks, the Penn State co-defensive coordinator, who had mentioned that that they could go into some kind of a situation where you had a Mason and a Banks both come in and co-coordinate the defense. You hear a lot, but until it actually gets it signed and done, you're probably not going to hear anything definitive. I also will say this, we're hearing talk that as they work on Jim Harbaugh's contract and get that squared away, which until it completely is, you never know, something else could happen. But I don't think they're wanting to release bits and pieces of a staff. I think they're trying to put things together behind the scenes and then announce wholesale changes kind of all at once.
Good morning, John. This is Ian here. Hey, with the defensive coordinator opening, I'm wondering how this, we missed the early signing period, but how much will that affect recruiting moving forward in terms of timing to get someone in that position?
Well, you still have the late signing period, so if you put somebody in place here in the next couple of weeks, not only would those guys who haven't signed yet still have the opportunity to say, hey, I think this is somewhere that I would feel comfortable with going. But you also have the transfer portal, and we've talked about that before. You have the guys that are considering where am I headed next, the veteran players who are transferring, take a real hard look at Michigan then. So I think there's still a couple of avenues where Michigan can enter into some pretty serious player procurement to upgrade the roster for spring ball.
John, I don't know if you heard this or not, but Michigan had a couple of House bills allowing college athletes to receive compensation for their name. And any comments on that as far as student athletes can sign contracts with companies other than apparel contracts that conflict with the schools?
Yeah, this is part of an overall movement of things happening nationally, obviously, along the same lines. And I got mixed feelings about it, Pat. One part of me says this is the end of college sports as we have known them, because once they take that extra step towards professionalism, that is compensated, for name, image, and likeness, the NAL aspect of it, you start to go even farther from that original idea of amateur athletics. But the other part of me recognizes we're so far away from that now already that in some ways this is just the next step. And for Michigan in particular, which has long prided itself on doing things the right way. Okay, we play by the rules.
and we don't pay players. We don't, have a car program that give players automobiles to drive surreptitiously while they're in school. We don't do a lot of these things. Well, I can guarantee you that puts you behind in the overall picture these days, because a lot of programs, a lot of top programs have systems at work, maybe a week or two removed from the coaching staff, and while they turn a blind eye and they let it happen, that certainly aren't quite as dedicated to being totally above board, and that puts you behind in the race before you even start. This could be a way for Michigan to, in particular, to kind of catch up on that if there was a way for some of these guys to feel like, they're able to cash in a little bit, legally above board, and still attend a university like Michigan. So, like I say, I really mixed feelings about the whole thing, but there's definitely interesting things to follow.
The thing that surprised me that it's not just Division I, it's Division I, II, and III. Any player can sign some type of sports contract.
Yeah, I get that. I think the concentration of where the funding is really going to go are going to be to those top athletes at the top level. Yeah, I have no doubt that somebody on a lower division could get them walking around cash through this sort of thing, but I would say if you want to watch the playoffs this year, it's those kinds of schools, or the top 10, or the top 15, 25 in Division I, that you're going to see the greatest activity here, and a race to be able to compensate players in a way that takes them to the next step.
I mean, this has to be considered a huge plus in recruiting. I mean, you're looking at Michigan, and they're competing with someone in, let's say, Illinois. And if you play here, you can get paid. I mean, that's got to be a somewhat of a recruiting tool, right?
Yeah, as long as you insert the word legally.
Right. Yeah.
Because there are a whole lot of places the players can go these days and get paid.
Sure.
That's just a fact of life. If you've been around college athletics long enough, but if you're Michigan, you can say, look, here's what you can take advantage of, and still go to a program and play in front of the largest crowd in college sports every Saturday. You can still wear that wing helmet, have all the traditions, have all of this behind you, and still have an avenue for getting compensated beyond what your scholarships and room and board and all of that takes care of. Yeah, it certainly would help Michigan catch up in some ways, I would say.
Do you think that maybe long term it devalues the athletic scholarship, or the school says, hey, you're getting paid, we're going to do like partial scholarships or anything like that? Do you see that as being a side effect?
I don't see the grant and aid going away. But I guess there are sports certainly where that's already the case. I mean, you don't get a full roster of baseball scholarships even at Division I. Like Michigan, you'll have a handful, and then you'll have partials, and the other sports the same way. So you may see even more of that, I suppose. Probably not your biggest money-making sport, but maybe that gets exacerbated all going to be regulated? Are you going to be able to, how are these players going to be able to receive some compensation and yet not have it be so out of hand that, okay, Michigan, has a program and its players might be getting, $1,000 for an image, a calendar, and yet somewhere else they're getting, a couple of cars and 10 grand. I just, again, it's how you are able to oversee this, and I think the devil is in the details.
We're talking with John Borton, senior editor of the Wolverine magazine. John, hang on for a minute. We got to take a break here. You're inside the cave this morning with Ian Wendt, Pat Hayes, and John Borton.
Sure.
on Austin Davis.
Yeah, we certainly keeping up on Austin and all that he was able to accomplish. I found it very interesting this week that Phil Martelli, the assistant coach under Juwan Howard, was talking about that whole situation and how much they want Austin Davis back and need him back. He said that, look, people were thinking, well, this is some kind of a feel-good fifth-year senior story, but he said, look, this guy beat Hunter Dickinson out before the season started. He flat beat him out. And, this kid still could end up, Hunter Dickinson could end up as the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and it's looking like it at 7-1 coming in with Davis injured. But it was Martelli really strongly underscored the fact that Austin Davis has come so far as a player at the University of Michigan, and they are really looking forward to the time that he can get back, and that can become a tandem once again at that center spot. So it's a feel-good story, absolutely, for people in Lenawee County and surrounding areas that saw Austin Davis play as a youngster. But it's far more than that. He really has come a long way.
And in the same vein of Davis's unfortunate injury, are the winter athletes getting the same as the fall athletes in terms of eligibility? So if Austin wants to come back, does he have another season, or how's that going to work?
He would be able to do that. I would be surprised if he did that. He's getting his into a master's program now, and I would think that with his skills and his size, he would be able to play professionally. Whether he would be able to make an NBA roster, or certainly there's been a lot of Wolverines that have done really, really well in other countries playing, and I know a number of them, to this day, that have been in other leagues for 8-10 years and done super well. So I think certainly Austin Davis will have options.
Well, of course, the Wolverines have a game tonight on New Year's Eve. They'll be traveling to take on the Maryland Terrapins, and a formidable team that has had pretty good luck so far this season. They are 6-3 and ranked in the top 25.
Yes, they are, and that's in large part because of what they did just in their last outing. They got off to an 0-2 start in the Big Ten, but then they go up to Wisconsin, where nobody except for Wisconsin, usually up to the Kohl Center, and pull off a crazy upset over the Badgers. And I'll tell you what, that's bad news signs of life there for Michigan, because now Michigan has to go to Maryland. It's 7-0 Michigan, 6-3 Maryland, but Maryland coming off certainly its best effort of the season. So all eyes on College Park tonight, and we're going to see if Michigan can continue that undefeated streak at the start of the season.
Of course, that's an 8 o'clock tip, and that will be televised on ESPN for anyone who'd like to watch that game. And as far as the Big Ten season, boy, I tell you, there's so much parity now in the Big Ten. 9 teams in the top 25.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. They've had all that representation, and the team that was probably ranked 1 or 2 at the top of all that gets off to an 0-3 start in the Big Ten. Obviously, that being Michigan State. So that's considerable ink for the fact that you're the team that had been identified as your potential national title contender has gone from the top 3 in the country down to number 17. But you look at Wisconsin there at 6 in the top 10. Maryland is at 21 right now. Michigan at number 16. You just have a host of really good teams, and these teams are going to battle it out all season long and beat each other up. I just saw Indiana sweep by Penn State by in a last second shot. You got one of these situations where Indiana would just destroy teams at Assembly Hall, but that was at Assembly Hall, and Penn State took them to the last, right to the end, and the Penn State did that as well at Chrysler Center against Michigan. You got a Penn State team that is 0-3 that could have a couple of really quality road wins. It's just a play or two away.
Well, just looking at the Big Ten, Michigan, the only team without a loss in Big Ten play. Northwestern was the only other team up until this week when they lost to Iowa. So Michigan up atop with 2-0 record, and everybody else got 1 or 2, even 3 losses on the season.
No doubt about it. Michigan would love to keep it that way, but to be honest with you, Pat, the toughest tests are to come. And
yep.
Certainly, that starts tonight at Maryland. Maryland only 1-2, but like I said, coming off that win at Wisconsin, they're going to be good. You look at the end of Michigan's schedule, and that last
Michigan State
absolute gauntlet. So Michigan needs to rack up and put on the shelf all the wins it can get right now, and it should continue to get better because that is going to be one whale of a finish to the season for the Wolverines schedule-wise.
And you talk about the places like Assembly Hall, like the Breslin Center, or up in Wisconsin. A lot of these places have no fans. I mean, it's safe to say in the Big Ten, having fans there matters. You got a team like Penn State that can compete at Chrysler. Well, it's a little different when the band is there, when the student section is there, and you fill the place up. Is that having that big of an effect, or am I sort of looking too much into that?
I think it's a great equalizer. I don't think you need to go on the road and be as fearful or as intimidated by a place like the Breslin Center or like Assembly Hall or the Kohl Center in Wisconsin. It is a very different deal when that thing is empty and you have a little piped-in noise. But I mean, in some ways, it's scrimmage-like. I was surprised to see, as I was watching that Indiana Penn State game, to see Indiana get the kind of whistles it did down the stretch. I'm thinking, wait a minute, did they usher in some fans secretly here that
right.
officials intimidated? But I think that's the exception, so rather than the rule, because you are seeing a situation where it's just not, you don't have that overwhelming noise factor, intimidation factor, and it is so easy to blow that whistle and have 12, 14,000 fans cheering, just going wild as it is to blow it the other way and having the house come down on you. I think it makes a huge difference, and it's going to make a difference for Big Ten teams going on the road this year. It's going to be much easier to get some of those road wins.
Well, the Michigan lineup with Brooks, Livers, Smith, Wagner, and Dickinson, they've been playing pretty well together, but John, they've had some pretty good play off the bench this year so far.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, part of that was Hunter Dickinson started on the bench this year, and the bench was outscoring outscoring the starters. But now that he is in the starting lineup, you still have plenty of firepower off that bench. You got Shawnee Brown, who transferred in and has taken on some big defensive assignments and certainly really shoot the basketball. Terrence Williams II has given you some really good, tough minutes. Brandon Johns Jr., the junior out of East Lansing, is somebody that I really want to keep an eye on because he's active, he's 6'8", he's 240, he's got the body for it. He hasn't fully come into his own in some ways. You know, he had the 20 points in Madison Square Garden last year as Michigan beat Rutgers out there. And he was another guy that Martelli mentioned this week in talking to the media. He mentioned the fact that one of the keys to Maryland winning in Wisconsin, they had to give this 6'7", 230 pounds that was playing the 5, playing at center. You know, and he wondered aloud, that being Phil Martelli, whether Brandon Johns at 6'8", 240 could get more minutes at the center spot even tonight, and help offset some of that the smaller lineup quickness. So one of the things that Phil Martelli mentioned was getting even more depth out of this roster, and I think situationally there's still more to squeeze out.
We're running out of time here, as we always do. I wanted to talk a little bit about the women's program, but we'll save that one for next time. But John, before we let you go, we'd like to get your picks now on the 2 semifinal games coming up: Notre Dame, Alabama, and Ohio State and Clemson. I'd like to get your picks on those 2 games.
Well, I hate to sound same old on you, but until things change, I think we're going to see more of the same. I think we're going to see Alabama, Clemson, round whatever it is, because I just think those teams are above and beyond in college football right now. If the Notre Dame Irish are to have a chance, Ian Book has to play out of his mind. I think they can have a game above and beyond. I do not see Ohio State winning, especially if they don't have a better passing game than they showed against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game. You know, I know Clemson coach Dabo Swinney shot his mouth off a little bit and might have fired the Buckeyes up, saying that they shouldn't be in the playoffs, given the fact that they only played a handful of games this year. But I still think Clemson has too much for them.
All right, John, we're out of time. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Thanks.
All right, John Borton from the Wolverine Magazine, and that's going to wrap it up. Happy New Year, Ian.
Happy New Year, Pat. Say goodbye to 2020.
Hey, we'll see you next year on Inside the Cave.